All right, so let's talk about. I'm going to throw this one at you, Heath. Are you ready?
All right.
Let's talk about Ricky Gervais.
Oh my goodness, at the Golden Globes.
Let's talk about the Golden Globes, the Ricky Gervais of the
It was
Golden Globes.
ruthless.
It was.
Ruthless.
So I have a different opinion, but I want to hear yours first, because for people who aren't maybe tracking what we're talking about, Ricky Gervais, he did the Golden Globes. He hosted apparently for his 5th and final year. And
he said as much. Yeah, he doesn't want to do it again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he solidified that.
Yeah,
I think he's good. But there was a lot of the best part of all, because he blasted Hollywood. I mean, he called them friends of pedophiles and just. Yeah, I mean, from the jump, he basically ruined all of their acceptance speeches at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like
you can imagine them sitting there hearing that and going like, "Oh, quickly, marking through things and panicking," because that's like their whole bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't stop. I mean, it didn't stop some people from.
No, of course, because they're so set, stuck in the script.
I feel you're right, and that's you're right. They think like because they're actors, they memorize. They know what they're gonna say, so it's like how you can't really go off character. We're not talking a whole bunch of like improv actors.
No,
that are able.
Some of them floundered, like Joaquin Phoenix. He floundered.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
He was all over the place, but he was. But then he even tried to. He was like, "Well, how did you guys get here? And you flew your private jets." And I was like, "Dude, what is going on with you?" He was all over the place, but that's Joaquin, for Pete's sakes.
Well, yeah, this is the same guy that went on. What was it? Was it The Late Show, or was it maybe when Leno was still around? But he was prepping for a role, and he came out with like glasses on and like this full crazy beard, and he just sat there and was like, he wouldn't answer questions. It was a super awkward interview. Like that's.
Yeah, I want to say it was Letterman. He's so weird. He was in that. He did like that pseudo documentary called "I'm Still Here" or something.
That's what it was. Yes.
And Casey Affleck, who was his brother-in-law at the time, was filming it, and they actually got like charged with real. I mean, they got like deep into the parts to the point where they were like charged with real criminal like stuff against girls and whatnot. So
really,
yeah, dude,
I know all
crazy.
that.
It got to it was so bad that Casey Affleck was his brother-in-law at the time, and he got divorced because of it. I'm pretty sure because of that movie. Dang. Which is crazy. But that's Joaquin. Like that's the level of Joaquin-ness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Joaquin-ness. That sounds like some sort of a generic symptom that you would see on like a Celebrex commercial or something.
Dude, he's so weird that like his whole life is a mystery, because he grew up in a cult and his parents were vegetarians his whole life. So he's been a vegetarian his whole life. Then he had his brother, River Phoenix, who has the mysterious death thing around him. Like nobody still knows that story. People still will not talk about that. I
didn't know people didn't know that story. I thought people
it's like he was at a club. He was at Johnny Depp's club. I mean, it's the weirdest story. He was at Johnny Depp's club and then he overdosed, but nobody knows why he did it, or they won't say exactly who. And Flea was there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those classic Hollywood stories that nobody knows exactly what happened.
I've heard that he had dirt on Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
That's terrible. Yeah, I'm sorry, River, wherever you are, if you heard that.
He's probably still alive. We don't know.
He might be.
They may have ushered him out into witness protection.
He's on an island with Tupac. That's where he's at.
That's right. I was always hoping with Tupac, like there was rumors where his thing was going to come up, like his 10-year sentence or whatever. And then he was going to drop the sickest like album of all time. And I was always banking on that. I was like, that would be the epic troll of the lifetime, like Tupac.
Well, and he'd be remiss to not call the album Back from the Dead. I mean,
or Resurrection or something.
Yeah,
or if it was with Phoenix, River Phoenix.
Oh man, we just brought it full circle, dude. Dude, Illuminati confirmed.
Illuminati.
This Jeffrey might actually that might be offensive. I might have just
you just offended someone.
What did I just do? There's so many things that this could be. This couldn't just be like a that wrestling thing, right? I'm just gonna keep doing it
YouTube,
to make
YouTube
it more
just
awkward.
Took us off. YouTube
Me
just
too.
took us off.
Did we just get hashtagged? I'm gonna have to
You
make
just
this
got
video not
hashtag.
appropriate for kids according to Facebook's new
That's right.
new
That's right.
policies. Yeah,
The guidelines.
yeah. Well, that clearly that just set the bar. Anyway, so back to Ricky Gervais.
Yes. Yeah.
From the beginning, I want to hear your. Do you think it was genuine? Do you think he was? I mean, do you think he was pandering to a different audience, or do you feel like he was just like he's just so sick of the BS? Period.
I think Ricky's the type of guy. He's like a classic liberal in the like he's not left and he's not right. He's an atheist, so he's just like does his own thing.
Right.
And I think he's sick of it. And he's also UK. I mean, he's also British, so he doesn't care a lick about us.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
He's super popular over there, so he doesn't need us.
Right.
And to be fair, like his stuff, we stole The Office from him for Pete's sakes.
But,
and you can tell he's sort of bitter about it. Like,
do you think
like
so?
when he talks about it.
So what's the story? What's the story behind that?
He did 2 seasons of it, and he ended it when he. Have you seen The Office?
The British Office?
No, well, either one. Are you a fan of either one?
I saw the US one. I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes of the British one.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Like
I like that dry humor. I've always liked that.
Yeah, I like British
television.
I mean, some of it's hit or miss, but so he did 2 seasons of it, and then we stole it, basically the entire concept, like word for word. I mean, it's crazy if you look at the characters side by side.
Yeah,
it's exactly. I mean, we stole it, and then you could arguably say too, like the I'm not a huge fan of The Office. My wife loves it, but you can say that it trails off after the like, like the 3rd and 4th season, then it starts. Like a nosediving, because Hollywood doesn't know when to end things. They don't know when
that's
to,
true.
Drop stuff. But anyway, so Gervais, I think he's a little bitter about that. But he's also been hosting for so long. Like, what'd you say? His 5th year?
5th year, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it so long, and he's tired of the hypocrisy. If you had to sit there for hours,
right?
Because the Golden Globes is like what, 3 hours, 4 hours long?
3 hours.
You had to hear these pompous,
gas
bags lecture us.
Yeah.
While they're like literally while Joaquin Phoenix said, oh, you guys are flying your jets in, you're doing your stuff, like don't lecture us.
Right.
Because I think at one point he said, if ISIS started a streaming network, you guys would sign up.
That was my favorite part of the whole thing. It's true, because I mean he did say that the one movie that was like sponsored or whatever, paid for by Apple, was basically, riding off of the, the blood, sweat, and tears of sweatshops.
Well, China owns half that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the sordid tale of it is when all this stuff was going on with Hong Kong, China was shutting down all sorts of stuff that they own, like EA, or maybe it wasn't EA, but Blizzard. They own
Blizzard.
I mean, I played World of Warcraft for like 6 years. Yeah. And they are so embedded in that stuff now. You can't even talk about it in game. They were banning people.
Yeah, I know. I saw that because I think there was some stuff on Overwatch. I'm a big Overwatch fan, so
yeah. The heroes of this whole thing are the comedians. Yeah, because comedians are they're realizing you can't live like this.
That's true. I mean, that's been a big part just in our culture in general. Has been that the entire cancel culture that we live in right now is really self-destructive, and it doesn't go anywhere, because then at what point do you say, like at what level of censorship do you say like this is the norm, and then you can't really say it's the norm anymore, because there really isn't a norm. So
sure. And they can't play colleges. They can't. I mean, they can't do anything.
Yeah, and comedians have always been. I mean, even from back in the days of the jester, the court jester, they've always been the one that have had the freedom to speak, freely in jest.
Insult the king.
Right, insult. They're the only ones that can, and then not only can but get paid to do it. They're and the king's gonna laugh at them. Or laugh with them. So.
So that's, I mean, that's my take on, and the thing, like you said, the funny thing you said too was how he's not going to do it again. On Twitter, he posted, somebody asked it, they were like, we want you to do this for the rest of your life. And he said, nah, a little smiley emoji. He's like, nah, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I'm done. And I guarantee they won't invite him back, of course. Like, why?
No, they won't. But I mean, isn't that weird that like the way that he started the whole thing off, he was just like, he was like, you guys are like, he's like the Academy Awards canceled Kevin Hart
Yeah, that's right.
for an offensive tweet from years ago,
Yeah.
and here I am, like, what,
Yeah.
like, what's the deal? Like, there
What's
seems,
your take on the whole thing?
well, initially, I think initially I was feeling like it was a little bit pandering, but I think you brought up some good points that I didn't really consider, you know, regarding the fact that he is British. You know, he's kind of already in his own element, and he's invited to do this, and he's tired of it. And of course, you know, he gets paid or whatever, but you know, at what better way, if you want to make a statement in reality, what better way to make a statement than to actually go against the status quo?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's talking about him.
Right.
They
And Michelle
nobody
Williams,
cares
but
about
that's
it. Yeah, and Michelle Williams, but that's a whole nother.
yeah, that's a whole different topic altogether. But yeah, I mean, uh, it just initially I felt like it was pandering, but now because you know, you just seeing the response to it, it's like, man, did he plan that? Like, I mean, he had to have known.
Yeah.
He knew it was going to make waves one way or the other. I mean, he knew that it was going to be rough, and you know, the things that came out of it are actually causing people to talk, like you and I are talking about it right now. Like we're actually having the conversation about what was said and about this and the problems with this aristocrat society that really is detached from the rest of us. And yes, they bring us entertainment, but at the end of the day, like, it's like, dance, monkey. I'm throwing my money at you. You know, like, you know, at the end of the day, you're entertaining. We're paying money to watch you do something that we wouldn't normally do, you know, and you do it well, you know, so thank you.
And I have no problem with people using a platform. Like, I think that's great.
Sure.
But it's when you lecture and like I'm a big U2 fan, or at least I used to be more big, and I saw U2 in concert. It was phenomenal. And Bono uses that entire show to lecture you. He really does. And you don't care because you're in the show and you're in the moment.
And it's Bono.
It's Bono, you know, and you can tell he's a believer, right? Like, he's in on it. He is 100%. I'm behind it. But I think what Gervais was poking at were the phonies, right? The hypocrisy, right? The hypocrites that were like, oh yeah, don't do this, don't do that, and then they're gonna hop on their private jets and fly in, and you know, all that stuff is just nonsense.
Yeah, and he's right. I mean, and the response from the crowd, I think, was exactly what we would have expected, you know. And I think the best way to sum up the response of the crowd, and I love this meme, it's Tom Hanks on top, Adam Driver on the bottom, and it's like, you know,
and Keith Urban in the back.
Yes.
One of my buddies said that Keith Urban looks like a great value Ken doll in that picture, because he's sort of like,
he doesn't look like he's even there. Like, he doesn't even know that he's at any award show.
I don't think he realized he's just happy to be there. Like, I like Keith Urban. I think he's a genuinely good dude. So he's just happy to be there. He's just like, you know,
he's there because his wife's there.
That's right. I'm married to Nicole Kidman.
Yeah,
this is great.
I made it. I could stop making music.
I just play music and get paid for it. It's great.
Yeah, I'm an Australian American country singer. That's weird. Like, does that? I mean, aside from Hasselhoff, does that happen anywhere else? I mean, I think that's a question that we need to investigate.
Man. You know, here's a fun fact because you brought up Hasselhoff. He is huge overseas.
No, I know. That's what that's the point.
Like, people make fun of him. Like, we make fun of him and stuff. He's massive overseas. And he comes here and he has a good career here. So it is like him, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and a few other guys. They're just massive overseas, and we have no clue about it.
That's true. Well,
like, over in Japan, Arnold Schwarzenegger is still on commercials.
Yeah. I was going to say that.
Crazy. Sorry if I'm coughing, by the way, too. I'm getting over a cough. So
dude, you're done. I'm going to replace you tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah, this was a good trial run, Heath. Thanks for your help. You're done. When I lived in Japan for 7 years. And it was very crazy. Like, we would see commercials with like McConaughey or Brad Pitt, and they would be like saying something crazy, and it's like, you have no idea what all of these things. It's like, and then it's like, and then he's like jumping up in the air, and he's holding like a can of they have a Gatorade type drink over there. It's called Pocari Sweat. And Yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's
Picard
not
Sweat?
Picari Sweat.
That sounds
Yeah,
horrible.
no, that's for real though. It is. It's a thing. They also sell coffee and vending machines over there, which is fantastic. Like if you've never had,
Like
you
that.
walk up, you got yen in coins, so you got 100 yen,
Yeah.
500 yen. Coffee's usually like 200 yen. You drop in, and that's like $1. I mean, exchange rate aside, it's like
Okay.
about $1. Throw in, $2. You throw in, you hit the coffee that you want. Georgia coffee is like it's a Coke product, but it's Japanese. So Georgia coffee's over
Coke has
there.
coffee?
Coke has coffee. Georgia coffee. Yeah,
Dude, that is
either Coke or
amazing.
Pepsi is one of the two major ones.
Yeah.
But
That's
anyway,
awesome.
yeah. So you could just pop in. Georgia coffee is fantastic. So they ended up finding out like later on down the road. I guess I don't know if this is totally true. Somebody could probably, if they have more knowledge on Japan, probably correct me. But I did hear that part of the addicting nature of Georgia coffee was that they were actually putting nicotine in their coffee.
I believe
I don't
it.
know if it's true. I don't know
Yeah,
for sure.
but see, over in Japan, they can get away with sort of that. Like, right? I mean, they don't have the FC. What is it? FCA? They don't have all the,
They don't have the FDA like we do, but
FDA.
they have their own compliance stuff.
Sure,
but it's different. It's not. I mean,
come on. They can do what they want.
They eat raw fish. They don't have FDA.
They're having a blast over there in Japan.
It was fun, man. I would have loved. I mean, I couldn't live there forever because I do love being a spoiled American.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
I mean, quite clearly, my privilege goes way farther here than it would ever go anywhere else.
It is a
in
culture
America.
shock, isn't it? Whenever you go, it is a culture shock. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you realize how American you are until you go overseas somewhere else.
No, it's it's very different. Even when you go to Western countries, I mean, even Japan really would be considered a Westernized country, technologically and stuff like that.
Because I went to London.
Oh yeah,
and it was like in London's super Western. I mean, it's fine, right?
Yeah, I love London. Fantastic.
And I went to London, and like I was in the hotel room, and I'm like, why is the TV so small? Like, why is it only 22 inches? I'm used to my giant, and then the water, literally on the water, on the faucet, it said like, warning, this will burn you. And I was like, why? What? And so I cranked it up, and sure enough, it's scalding hot water.
Wow.
And I'm like, why do they need this? And there's no air conditioner. Like, there's no air conditioning barely anywhere. So
I noticed that AC is a huge luxury in the United States.
Yeah.
We don't realize how awesome we have. Like, even when I was living in the part of northern Japan called Misawa, Japan, which is like a very, I'd say climate wise, you would probably liken it to like Minnesota, climate wise. So, we're talking like snow, cold and snow, pretty good amount of time of the year. But never gets super hot. But they wouldn't install air conditioning in our housing units because it had to be over a certain amount of degrees for a certain amount of time in order for them to even for the government to even justify an air conditioner. So like for 2 weeks in the summer, which was really the hottest time, it was awful. I mean, like we would have to, wife and I would have to go shower before going to bed just so we could be cool enough. And it was a cold shower just to be cool enough to sleep. So, but I mean, that's 2 weeks out of the year. It wasn't terrible, but you really do forget when you have to be without, or where you live in a country where it's not a luxury. I mean, people come over here. Think about the people that come over here from foreign countries that walk into like, a Chili's or a cheesecake factory, and they not only is the scale is just massive compared to anything that they have, but and the food, is the scale of the food is massive, but just the overwhelming, like they walk in and it's like summertime, but it's like 60 degrees in there, and they're like, holy buckets, it's cold. Yeah. I'm cold right
America.
now.
Hashtag America.
Hashtag we like it cold because we're fat. We like it cold. We should put that. I wish I could put text on screen.
Yeah, that's right.
It does say you can share screen, but I don't know what that means. So anyway, if you guys are joining us, hey, we're 19 minutes into the show. This is Popcast. I'm Drew. This is Heath.
Hi.
This there we go. This is Heath. I am. We started this. I don't know. If you've never heard of Sanctuary of Heroes, you're probably the better off for it anyway. You probably have more money anyway.
That's true.
But You know, it's the best money.
The
Anyway,
best.
so
The best
uh,
comic store.
I can't get. I've been trying to do Trump. I can't get Trump yet.
I do horrible impressions. The best is the best.
That was better than mine, though. That was good. No, that was
Everyone
good.
has a Trump, though, and it doesn't
Everybody's
matter.
got. Yeah, I mean, you know, just like everybody had a Bush, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And everybody just does it, and you're just like, oh.
You just got to squint your eyes and raise your shoulders.
Wrong. I can't wait for that next debate. Anyways, can finish what you're saying.
China. I don't even remember what I was saying. What was I talking about?
Sanctuary Heroes, some store you own. Or
something. Yeah. So, I got a comic book store. It's online. I've never met Heath in person. Probably never will. Honestly,
Hopefully.
Have no desire to leave my house. So this is probably it.
Not with air conditioning.
Not with the air conditioning. It's nice and cool down here.
Only Chili's? It's Chili's in my house. That's it.
My debundos are on ice. Let's put it that way.
My debundos are boiling right now.
My debundos are on ice, man. They're on ice. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
I'm resting on my debundos right now.
Board Game Centric says SOH broke my bank. That's why Michael actually doesn't shop with me anymore. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I have a feeling that it was his wife. But anyway, so long story short, I own a comic book store. I'm retired military. I did 20 years in the Navy. And I wanted to do a popcast. I want to do a podcast talking about pop culture. You know, obviously you can tell I'm into comics. I met Heath because Heath buys comics from me, and we actually have a lot of people in the same circle.
Sphere, the same.
We have the same sphere. The same the ball.
Who knows?
Down the bunder.
Down the debunder.
Down the debunder. See, look,
we'll have
now
to explain that eventually.
Yeah, we will eventually if this show makes it.
One day.
This might be the last. That's why I titled
this could be
the
podcast. First and last.
I titled it "The End." This is it. It's over after this. We are done.
That's right.
We are officially.
It could
done.
be like Voldemort, though. There could be various incarnations.
Oh yeah. Maybe what if we just did that? Like every episode, we just change the podcast name, so you never know how to follow, and it becomes like such a hipster thing.
This is the first Horcrux of SOH.
Yes. Yeah. We're gonna change the whole thing, and it'll be a whole new podcast next week. New name. We're gonna be dressed as midgets.
That's right.
Dressed.
What does that look like?
Well,
what's a midget attire?
Well. It's like that thing where you take your feet. You take.
They put the shoes.
Put your shoes.
Put your shoes up top.
Put your shoes on the top, and you put your knees in your shoes.
That's right.
And you make yourself look like a short person. We've just offended 3/4 of the population.
We could just have puppets one time.
3/4 of the population.
3/4 of the population. We did have a huge following, a huge little people following.
Could you say that we had a little huge following?
Do you remember when that show Little People was on?
Oh, yes.
People, Big World, and that was it. Everybody was talking about that.
Dude,
I thought that's wrong. This is wrong.
Do you know
we're exploiting these people?
Okay, but what's worse, dude? Like trying to learn their culture and like to see how they live their life, or what they did next in the spinoff of that show, which they ended up putting the little people. I don't know if they put them there or if the little people were already there, but it's very coincidental that they worked in a chocolate factory. All right, they
forced them into it. They were right after. They were like, "We got a great idea."
They did this slave. It was a slave thing. They traded their services for money in a very 1800s type of way.
There's a man named Willy Wonka who's very interested in having.
Yeah, we need to talk about. I think we need to spend one entire episode talking about Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa from what?
Grandpa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh my word! Yeah,
Grandpa Joe.
What a lazy layabout
until his grandson finds his golden ticket. This guy has been laying. He's clearly capable. He's handy capable because he's walking around dancing and singing.
That's right.
You know, he's fully able to function.
What is that? What is that situation? There's a bunch of old people in beds
All
in
of the
their house.
grandparents lived in the bed, and I imagine that they slept like this.
Yeah, it's awkward.
This is
I guess as a child, I'm like,
yeah.
this makes sense.
Well,
Children are just like, oh, that's perfectly normal. My grandparents all do that. They just stay in bed.
My grandparents don't. Well, my God rest their souls. Most of my grandparents are passed, but my grandparents didn't even like each other. Like from the different sides of the family. Like mom's grandparents, they might let alone share arthritis
or touch
together in a bed with foot fungus touching people's shoulders and stuff.
People are tuning in right now. They're like, I thought this was about comics.
This is not right.
What are they talking about? Grandpa Joe.
This is not okay. He's a childhood hero. He helped Charlie. He got the chocolate factory.
He burped. He helped him get down.
If it wasn't for his gassy nature, they may have been, cut into small pieces. He had
years of sitting in a bed, burping,
a la Fargo,
and releasing
gaseous things.
It's very gaseous.
Yeah. So
gaseous loop.
Back to my introduction. I did start this at some point and say, like, I'm going to talk about myself. Anyway, I don't really care. Like, people are either going to like me or they're not at this point. Like, I did 20 years in the Navy. For me, I'm free right now. So, I'm Drew, and I hope you like me. And I have I sell comics. Sanctuary of Heroes is my comic store. Heath's my customer. Met him. We have a lot of circles. We have lots of debundos. And then so Heath, yeah. Oh, I have 4 kids, and I've been married for 18 years. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm 31. I have 2 kids, and I live in Florida. I'm a Florida man.
Florida? Are you Florida man?
I'm a Florida man. I live right on the Panhandle.
Gosh, I knew it.
A little Panhandle. So there's that, and then it goes down. See, this is backwards. That, and then it goes down like that.
Yeah.
So
can you do that again?
So it goes like that, and then it goes.
All right, and back up.
Like that, and then it tucks back around.
Dude, why are you doing that, dude? This is not. Look, we've already said this. This was supposed to be a kid show.
And the cool thing was because I live right there, with these beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
And in college, people are like, oh, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, I'm going back home to Florida. And they're like, oh yeah, to party. And I'm like, I'm just gonna stay inside and sleep. I'm just tired,
Might throw on the DS a little bit.
Yeah, I might play some games or something. I'm not, because when you actually live here, you actually don't go to the beach 24/7. Like people like, oh, if I lived at the beach, I'd go all the time. No, you get tired of it. Like,
you don't. You get tired of the tourists.
Yeah, it's like anything. Like there are whole periods of months where we will not go to the beach because tourism is because you just don't want to go out there. You don't want to get stuck in traffic. You don't want to go.
Yeah.
Anyways, so so I got 2 kids and I work at a church and that's my life. It's a pretty good life.
That's good. Yeah,
man.
And it pays the bills and
it does.
And consequently it pays my bills. So we kind of have this whole ecosystem of things.
And I like comic books and I like
comics.
I like nerdy stuff.
So I like comics and I like
to read books.
I like TV. Picture books. You like the little colored pictures?
Because I don't even have to read sometimes. I just like to look at the pictures.
Sometimes I forget how to read and I just look at the pictures anyway. So real quick, we really don't know, like, this is for the audience out there. We don't really know what we're going to be doing here. And every show is probably going to be very similar to this, but as we find our groove, we'll figure out, like what works and what doesn't. We want your guys' feedback. We want to hear what you guys think. You like the show, you don't like the show, you can email sohcomics@gmail.com. That'll go directly to me. And then, if it's terrible and criticizing, I'll probably read it on the air. So please, the worst things that you can say about us would be fantastic.
Go buy all his stuff. Go buy his stuff.
Go buy my stuff. No, don't. I mean, you know what? Don't even, like, if you want to buy my stuff, that's fine. You can buy my stuff. That's all right.
Don't do it. Why would you?
But just listen to the podcast. Honestly, just listen. Watch this like 3 or 4 times, and then tell like your mom and dad to watch it 3 or 4 times. That'd be great.
Think of how much smarter you are if you just listen to this episode. Think about this. You already know about air conditioning in Japan.
You know who Ricky Gervais is.
A little bit about the Golden Globes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've learned a little bit.
Yeah,
You've learned something. A lot of it.
I mean, if it were, would you say like on the scale of small to normal sized person,
3.
what would you say that they've learned? Like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or are we talking like Shaq?
They've learned about 2 feet of information.
2 feet of information. 2 feet. Real quick.
Ride at a theme park.
So the idea, like Ricky said about Martin Scorsese. So we brought it full circle. Look at that. We brought the whole thing back to the beginning. So our intentions are to do a 30-minute show. We're over 30 minutes. This will be just enough time to get you to get your car warmed up, get you to the first light, and then you can put Rogan on and you'll be fine. Way more intelligent stuff going on over there. That's anyway. Right. That's right. We might have a guest, which would be my 3-year-old daughter. So there's that. I mean, that might be exciting.
There was one piece of comic news I wanted, or at least I should say movie news.
Go. We can be overtime because this is our first podcast.
I read today for the new Batman movie. Okay.
Yes.
I read that Matthew McConaughey is in it.
Okay.
And I'm not sure who he's playing. And then I read that Colin Farrell is playing Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Also known as the Pink. Yeah, I don't. It's like I want to like DC.
Yeah.
I want to love their stuff.
I want
them to exceed. So, I love DC.
Yeah.
I want them to hold on. I'm going to tell you who Matthew McConaughey is. I took a picture of it. Two-Face.
Wow.
Two-Face. Now he might be. Fine.
That's okay. I can do that.
But Colin Farrell.
I can do
Cobblepot. Like
no, I don't. That's weird.
I feel like it was Danny DeVito.
The last, I mean, yeah, I was gonna say like the last guy. Like, how do you compare? Like that's you can't ledger over to Phoenix with a DeVito to Colin Farrell. That's weird.
They should have hired one of the people from Little People Big World to do it.
They could have at least they would have had chocolate.
It would have been dead on. Anyway, I just think it's weird, Cass. I don't know what to think about it.
That is weird.
When I think about who's the guy playing it? Pattinson?
Yeah.
I just can't get that taste of Twilight.
Yeah.
I can't get that out of my mouth. Like I've tried.
Well, you should, first of all, you shouldn't put it in your mouth. That's probably one of the problems. I would say step one.
You should not eat DVDs.
Don't eat Twilight.
Good. Yeah.
Yes.
I just can't get I can't get that out of my mouth.
Well, I mean, it's Mark Hamill syndrome, right? I mean,
yeah.
When you have such a huge popular like boost of following so fast and you're so young, like you are just going to be known for. I mean, look, where's old Abs?
Abs.
The wolf. Where's he? What's he been in?
What?
The wolf Abs from Twilight.
Wolf. Oh my word, you're right.
Right?
Right. What's his name? We don't even know his name.
He was in a movie. Boy. It was called something like I don't even remember, honestly. It was
Taylor Lautner.
Yes. Yeah.
Taylor Lautner. Where is he? What's he doing? He was known for taking off his shirt, and that's going to be his career.
A whole bunch of weight.
Oh, that would be beautiful. Like,
That'd
what if he
really
gained all that weight and he came out? He's like,
yeah,
I'm cool now. Like, I'm real chill. And
yeah, man, guys, I got the role for the Blob in the next X-Men movie.
Yeah. What if it goes opposite? Like, when people lose weight.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, that's so great. What if it goes opposite where people gain a lot of weight and then they come out and they're like, oh, that's so great. He's a comedian now.
Because it's kind of like you got like the Jonah Hill thing, right? Like Jonah Hill, he's hilarious and he's fat.
Yeah.
And that's just
but then
how
he loses it. And then
he loses it. He's not really that funny anymore.
You're right.
He kind of lost that like jovial guy that's going to make me feel better about myself.
It's true.
Because I don't look like him. But he's also he's really rich and he's making way more money than I am.
That's right.
So,
right.
So I also kind of envy him.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm not him, but I could be him.
Yeah, you could be him.
I could be him.
Did you want to talk about New Mutants too? I went and actually watched that trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, real quick. I mean, may as well. I mean,
yeah, I don't want to go over too much of it
No, I think it's gonna fail. I think it's gonna be terrible. I watched the trailer. The movie is already 2 years old.
Yes.
It was written under the wrong guidance. It's
Yes. The
you
horror
know,
film.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if 20th Century Fox thought like maybe we're gonna give this a shot because nothing else is working, so we're just gonna like throw this out there and hope that it's scary. Because I mean, like Runaways wasn't terrible. I don't know if you watched any of that
Yeah.
show on
Yeah.
Hulu, but it
I
wasn't
knew
terrible.
about it.
But it's younger people, so younger superheroes. The Runaways, I think Squirrel Girl at one point was part of the Runaways.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like an offshoot of Marvel. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. I mean, maybe this is Marvel's way of saying like, we're gonna show you guys the last final product of Fox, and then we're gonna make you thankful that we bought them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe contractually they had to. I mean, you
Yeah.
imagine they spend that much money, they hire all those actors.
Right.
I mean, they got Maisie Williams in it, coming
Yeah.
fresh off Game of Thrones. So, and she
Right.
looks horrible.
She
I'm
looks
sorry,
terrible, dude.
It's terrible.
She looks like this girl
Yeah.
that used to work at a Subway where I used to work. It just
And the girl they have playing Magic, it's like they looked at the comic and then they
Yeah.
said, "We don't need you to have any talent. We just
Yeah.
want you to look like this girl."
Well, and I tell you what though, like that's a good decision. I mean,
Yeah.
the second that I saw her, I was like,
split.
wow, that's good casting for Magic.
Yeah, I knew exactly who it was without
Yeah.
even
But
saying
I
it.
think I've seen her in stuff before. She's
Maybe.
acted. I'm gonna have to IMDb that one because I'm positive
Yeah.
she's been in something, and maybe something I watched recently. Hey, have you been? So New Mutants aside, I mean, it sounds like we both agree on New
Yeah.
Mutants being pretty
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh, yeah.
How about Witcher? Are you watching Witcher?
Oh man, I finished it.
Okay,
I binged it.
so I'm 2 full episodes in, maybe 3.
Okay.
I think I hit number 3, but I don't remember. I like it though.
It's fun. Have you ever played the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the third game I started, but I was really new into those type of like RPG games. So
Yes.
it was a little overwhelming for being my first time. I should have
Yeah.
started with like Fallout, which I think is what I ended up going back to.
Yeah, Fallout's a great game.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, real quick. She's in Split. She's one of the girls in Split that gets kidnapped.
Well, there you go. So you did know. Your brain made a connection.
Yeah, I think, is she the main character from Split? Yeah, she's the main girl character from Split.
Well, there you go.
But she's a brunette in real life. That's why.
Oh,
It's kind of hard to see her there. But yeah, she. But yeah, no, I think she does look like magic. So anyway,
Yeah. It's good. Witcher is good. It ends.
Yeah, Witcher.
I mean, it ends on like okay, because it already got hooked up for a second season.
Yeah.
So it obviously ends on a huge cliffhanger, like And the cool thing about it is my wife knows very little.
Yeah, right.
And she watched it with me and loved it.
Yeah,
and Of course, Henry Cavill's in it, so like, no brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Game
it's a
Centric
good
is watching
show.
Witcher right now. Yeah, I really liked the first 2 episodes. I thought they did a really good job, kind of introducing the character,
choreography, the fight.
The fight scenes were great. I
Legit.
thought the story was really good. The problem that my wife has with it, like my wife is a very literal person, so
Mhm.
she needs it. It needs to be pretty clear and spelled out, like what the thing is about. So it's also one of the reasons that she can't really get into Star Wars, because there is so much lore. There is so much background information, and people know all of this stuff about it, that it can be overwhelming. And she can like the movie for what it is, but she just doesn't get into it. And that's the same problem I think that she has with Witcher, is that there's so much lore with Witcher, man.
Well, here's the thing too that I didn't know. About 3 episodes in, my wife looks at me and goes, "Wait, what timeline is this?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" There's 3 different timelines happening in the show, and they never tell you.
Oh,
they just want you to figure it out.
Ooh.
And so at one point we're in the past, and another point we're in like the middle.
Okay.
And then when we're with Siri, we're actually in the future.
But
they never tell you. They never tell you that. So that is like, and it's not even a spoiler. That's just something that you sort of figure out as the show goes on.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh, now it all makes sense. So I wish. I mean, they could have done a little better job about that
to kind of make it clear, spell it out.
Yeah, because it really does. Because they don't age.
Right.
Like The Witcher does not age, and so he looks the same in every scene. And you're like, wait, where am I at? Like, what's it just helps you get your brain around it, especially when
Yeah.
they kill somebody and then that person's back alive and you're like, wait, how, what,
Right.
and if you don't know
So
the rules,
right.
you know,
Do you think knowing the story of Witcher 3, or maybe it was Witcher 2,
yeah,
um, do you think that they're going to follow that with Ciri the way that they did in the games?
sure. And well, partly
I
too.
don't want to spoil it for anybody
Yeah,
because it's a pretty big deal and it's really cool. If you want
yeah.
to look it up, you can look it up. But
The cool thing is, I think it's episode 3 or 4. There's this one part where like it's a straight up a side quest in the game
okay,
of Witcher 3, and I'm
yeah,
sitting there going, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what happens here because I
that's
played the
awesome.
game." And
Yeah,
if you did, I mean, if you didn't play the game, it's whatever. You'd still enjoy it. But
sure.
it's one of those things where for people who play the game, it's the
Yeah,
exact side quest.
they do so that show does so many callbacks to the game. Just
Oh my
not
word!
even just to the game, but to like just that genre of games. Like
Even Cavill's voice, he's
yes,
copying the voice actor from the game.
yeah, he
I
does.
mean, it's like identical.
Yeah, he does so good. I love the scene in I want to say I think it's episode 1. No, it's episode 2 because it's got the bard, and so
Yeah,
when
Buttercup.
the
Or yes,
bard
dear.
where he announces that he's the Witcher, and then you see the one guy get up from the table and basically give him a quest. Like I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like
Right.
what a cool like because that story has nothing to do with anything. Like it was just
Yeah,
a random other than like it gave us some background history of the elves and like their
yeah.
plight and struggle and kind of like allowed us to see uh a sort of like to gain some sort of sympathy and see like maybe that it's going to play a bigger role later down the road.
Yeah.
um but I mean there's this thing could go on for a long time. I mean there's a lot that they could cover.
And I read that it's apparently more popular. If you can believe this, it's more popular and more watched than The Mandalorian, which
Huh.
is hard to believe because The Mandalorian is like
Yeah.
massive. I mean, everybody's talking about Baby Yoda. Everybody's talking
Right.
about
Well,
Mando. I mean, and
Disney
it's a
was
fantastic show. It's
Disney
killer.
was ridiculously smart with Baby Yoda. I mean, that was such
Oh
a
my word, yeah. Toy
that
sales
was
alone on
they
that.
I guarantee that board meeting was, guys, we need a new toy. Give us the toy and then we're going to develop a show around
That's
it.
right.
Because, give us something cute that everybody's going to love.
Yeah.
Let's go Grumpy Cat meets Keyboard Cat meets
Yoda's
yeah.
cute. What if we made him smaller?
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
What
smaller? Like, what do you mean small?
like
Like,
Chocolate Factory
like,
smaller or are we talking like massively
like, are
small?
you thinking little people, big world? No, smaller than that. That's even,
Yeah. Like
like
baby,
small.
but we're not going to call him Baby Yoda because we got to
What else
confuse.
maybe a child?
Yeah.
The child.
The child.
The child. Well, is he Yoda? Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
Nope,
know.
probably
We'll
not.
find out. Probably
Probably
not.
not.
But we'll
I mean-
find out. He's a
He
child.
looks exactly like Yoda and he uses the Force, but it's probably not.
Who knows, man? Who knows? But it's I mean, that has blown, and it's a fan. Like I watched the last episode,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, I like that. I enjoyed that more than Rise of Skywalker
Yeah.
that just came out. So, anyways,
Well,
we
again,
that's a whole nother. We can
it
talk
really
about that.
that really could be a whole other episode. I
Good,
agree.
yes. Yeah.
I need to get the wife into Mandalorian. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, but I've been
Oh,
kind of waiting for her to warm up. What's great is
Yeah,
social
man.
media has warmed her up to the idea. So, because now she wants to get the memes, she wants
Oh,
to get
sure.
it. So, they were very smart in using that. So, I don't know if she'll watch The Witcher with me much anymore. She just doesn't like a lot of the darker stuff and even violence. Like Walking Dead was already a stretch to watch with her,
Yeah.
but she loved the characters enough that she would deal with the gratuitous violence.
Yeah. In
But with this
episode
one,
4 or 5, too, of Witcher, there's like Game of Thrones level nudity scene
oh,
too.
well, that's good to know.
So that's like
Well, that's good to
awkward.
know because my 16-year-old wants to watch it and I haven't gotten that
Yeah.
far yet. And I knew that episode 1 had a scene where he meets the sorcerer, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
we skipped through that part anyway. But no, that's good to know. And in fact, it's probably I would imagine that Geeks Under Grace probably has a guide for that. For those people who don't know, Geeks Under Grace is an organization that I founded about 5 or 6 years ago. I don't work with the organization anymore, but they do reviews of movies and TV shows. They do it all from a family-friendly Christian perspective, and they try to like really focus on the morals. So nudity and stuff like that, they'll cover stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's interesting because I remember when I first wanted to start watching Jessica Jones, I was able to read a review that said, hey, there are on these. Yeah, at these time jumps, there's going to be a sex scene or something. So we just try to keep that out, because we got kids all around the house. You don't know who could be walking in the room at any moment. We really try to keep
a kid-friendly house. Kids here.
It's like this podcast, and the Panhandle of Florida.
That's right.
Yeah, it's kid friendly. All of Florida is kid friendly, especially with spice and meth.
I will say this about Florida. There's this based on Iran, with what's going on with Iran.
Yeah.
There's this meme I saw where it's like the U.S. rolls up and it says, "Release the Florida men," and then it's got the girl saying, "The what?" That fake the what?
Yeah.
Iran is like
the Florida men.
So true. That's so true. When you live in Florida, you just get used to it because it's not Florida man. It's just local guy drove his like. All right, here's a legit story that just happened. This guy was thirsty on New Year's Eve, so he drove his truck into a bar that was closed, got out a Dr. Pepper, sat down and drank it, and then left. That was it. That's the story. That's a Florida man story. He was thirsty for a Dr. Pepper, so he drove his car into a bar and drank it. And he got arrested. But that's what we do in Florida.
Well,
because when we're thirsty, we get a drink.
You can't go. I mean, you can't just drink it at home. There's places for this.
Yeah, if they should be open. And so he, he went in
2:00 in the morning. Like that's the beginning of the day.
That's right.
It's so funny that I wrote a note, and I have no idea now what that note was. Because I abbreviated it. QP.
It's like Seinfeld, like that Seinfeld episode where he writes down flaming balls of Sigmund.
Yeah.
He can't remember. He's like, what was that joke?
QP2. It was going to be something. Now I'm looking around thinking like, did I? QP2. Quick play 2. Yeah. That's what it is. Quick play 2. Yeah.
Quick play 2.
I do have to say before we end this, Jonathan Warren, who is another one of my customers who I'm friends with on Facebook, he's super excited about the podcast. I don't know if he was watching live or is going to watch this later, but he said, I've been waiting to find a podcast that doesn't talk about what they're wearing. So, in honor of Jonathan Warren tonight, and he told me I better not do this, we are going to do the Warren's What You Wearing. And I'm wearing a 1-Up mushroom hat.
Oh.
And a Spider-Man shirt and a Fitbit and a Kansas City Chiefs silicone ring.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
That's and
I'm wearing
nose ring.
A Star Wars shirt.
Nice.
That I got from a Funko box.
Nice.
Funko Pop box. And nothing else.
Awesome. I'm also not wearing pants.
Jeans on.
So, good for you, because
That's right.
I do not.
Because you're just
but that's okay, because every and so here's the deal, like every podcast that I do, what you guys don't really know is that I don't wear pants. And up until recently I didn't really show myself anyway. So it was really easy, but there's nothing that empowers a man more than selling his wares in his underwear. Because it gives me an edge competitively over everyone else. Nobody else does it.
You're quicker, faster.
Unencumbered. Dude, when unencumbered, exactly. Fallout reference. I can slide right out of my chair because I always get a little sweaty anyway, down from the waist below. Just slide right out of the chair to pick up the. You slide out and you grab the blind pole.
That's right.
And then you.
What you don't know is that Drew has slip and slide material all over his floor.
I do, but that's also because I murder people in my house. Because so it's not.
It's a double purpose.
Well,
it's really,
I tell the kids that it's slip and slide material, but it's really just plastic for bodies.
Our house is so much fun. Our parents keep plastic everywhere.
We get to play with super soakers in Dad's special room
all over the place. There's always red stuff. It's ketchup or whatever.
My dad's a blood spatter expert. I just never see him go to work. It's weird.
He just tests stuff.
He does it online.
It's
He does.
fun.
He's an autopsyist. My dad. It's a whole new thing. My dad does autopsies
He's
in the
never wearing
basement.
pants, and
Never
the whole
wearing
place is
pants.
slipping on.
The place smells like a dead dog. You know. I
thought you
know
said like a TED talk.
the place smells
Smells like a TED
I
talk
tell
in
you
here.
what. I don't know which is worse, to be quite honest with you, because
Yes,
TED
right,
Talks
a
do
dead
not
dog.
smell good.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's that? Is that a distinct smell of TED talk?
Excuse me, sir. Is that Artur
Stuff
Jour
from
to
candles.
talk?
Oh, is that a TED talk smell?
Is that Ted Dracar Noir? Oh man, it's yeah, that's like every convention that I've ever gone to. I used to go to PAX every year, so I'd go do all the video game stuff.
Oh man.
Every convention that I go to, I've seen people handing out deodorant. Like
Yeah,
like no kidding, like we'll give it
it's
out for
true.
free.
I
Like
go to
please.
Comic Cons. I'll go
Yeah,
to like anime.
yeah.
I'll go to anime
It's
expos.
bad.
It's bad, yeah.
It's bad. And I think, well, the funny thing about this hobby is like we know it's bad, and even the guys know it's bad. Even the guys that it's bad with, they know it's bad.
Yeah.
And we all kind of just deal with it, like
Yeah.
uh it's, yeah, I mean,
You breathe it in, you're like, yeah.
yeah, I'm at a con. I'm at BlizzCon, California 2 years ago.
I can
Was
imagine.
and it was hot. It was hot, and people were drinking. They had a smoking section, dude, in California, which was weird. But they had a whole outdoor smoking area, and it was crazy, dude. It was, yeah. I do like cons though, and in fact, I'm gonna Planet Comic Con is here in Kansas City. I think in March or May. That's the big one. And so I'm trying to get a booth for this one. I don't know if I'm going to or not, but I will be at C2E2 this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm actually
That's
going to be
cool.
going with Knights of the Comic. Alberto Araya is,
Oh yeah, I know
and
those guys.
yeah. So
Good dudes.
we've worked side by side a lot. Sometimes when I get like Clayton Crane signatures, I'll send them off to Alberto because he's got a scheduled signing. So he's done a lot of that for me. I've done some of that for him in the past too, where I've been at a con and he hasn't been able to get to, so I'll get some books signed for him. But he says when they get their booth space, they really only get their booth space so that they can actually have a place to go when they go get signatures and grading. Like they don't even really use their booth space for selling. They just use it for a space and to have access. So what I asked him was, I was like, can I go with you guys and use your space? I'll just bring a couple short boxes or whatever, maybe bring some slabs and just, sell some books there. I found that like the most luck that I have at cons is especially with comics, is with variant covers. Most cons that I've gone to, unless it's a big one, like New York City, obviously, and San Diego, they all have their own variants and everything, and it's crazy, and everybody wants their variants.
But dude, I've heard it is crazy expensive even to get a booth.
Yeah.
Places anymore. Like it used to be
absolutely
so accessible, and now it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, like if I go to those things, I'm not going as a booth. I'll go to get signatures, and I'll go to make connections. I've been really lucky, man. I've kind of just fallen into this. I don't know how it happened. Like one day I just decided, like, man, there's like a whole comic book community of people that are selling and buying, and like I would watch and I would buy stuff, and all it takes is to buy like it's like a tattoo. You get your first one, and then it's kind of like, I got to get another one. So like you buy your first exclusive, and then you have it, and then you're like, oh man, this is so cool. Like I got to get that next one. So it's a really cool hobby. Last thoughts. I guess we'll do an hour for the show since we're already there. We got 6 minutes. So let me hear. I want to hear your opinion on. Do you think the comic book market, is in danger right now of a 1990s level kind of cap where they kind of implode?
Dude, I think it has the potential for it. I think we're also in a lull right now.
Yeah.
So we're feeling it. Like this is the longest it's ever been since I've gotten to watch a Marvel movie.
Huh.
I mean, for a long time, like for a while, because
interesting.
Since like they left us with Infinity War,
right?
And now we've really had nothing. Well, I mean, we had Spider-Man, but whatever. And so that sort of hurts the community a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just true. And then the variants, they blasted them to the. I mean, like I think I told you this one time. There was like what 100 Black Cat
There
variants.
was a lot. Yeah,
I mean, there was more than
there was
we
at
ever
least
needed.
24. I'll say that there was at least
Yeah.
24 variants, and I think that's probably being graceful.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I look at my little comic collector at my collector's at, and I was like, it's so
Yeah,
if you're a Black Cat guy, you're
yeah,
sitting there going, I got to buy all these, of
right,
course. Like, and then they're not really original. Like
right.
this is nothing less. So I used to collect Funko Pops, and I buy and sell and flip them whatnot. And
Yeah,
now they've stopped being original. They're just like the cheapest. I
yeah,
mean, they're just little. They're trying to make a buck, and that's where it's going to get. It's going to get to the point where people like Clayton Crane are running out of steam,
yeah,
and he's not coming up with new and edgy stuff anymore because he has to mass produce so much stuff.
yeah. I think that absolutely. I think
I mean,
that's
and that's what I'm worried about. It's because these guys, like the reason Alex Ross is so good is because he sticks with one book usually, and
interesting.
then he just goes with it, right? And people know what to expect. And he's been in the business forever and a day.
Yeah.
But you have these new, fresh talent guys who aren't like that. They haven't done that yet.
Well, and maybe the market's really not letting them do it either. I mean, you got guys
Yeah,
like Ross that has the clout to say like, look, I'm not going to work on the book unless I can work on the
for
whole book.
sure.
And
Yeah,
and you see that with Immortal Hulk. He did it. I mean, he's just done an unbelievable job. And in
nailing
between,
it.
he's dropped a lot of different like little variant covers here or there, but you don't see him doing
Yeah,
uh
Marvel's X or
well, exactly. I mean, not only that, but you don't see big shops commissioning him. He doesn't do commissions
no,
like that.
he doesn't do that.
And so I wonder that is interesting because I think we're you and I and those of us that are kind of like getting heavily involved in the market right now, I feel like we're seeing a new thing. The closest thing that I could think of it, because in this fandom, we're losing a lot of the old talent. Um,
Yeah,
we've lost Stanley, we've lost just so many, and guys like let's just be frank, Steranko's not going to be alive for a ton
yeah.
longer. I mean,
Yeah.
these are all like the godfathers of the industry of what we currently know is like our modern comic books. So
Well, the other thing I will say too is I've noticed a switch. Like it used to be, like if I wrote a book, you wouldn't say, "Oh man, look at the cover artist,"
right,
right? Like you would
right,
know the author of the book.
right.
And it used to be, I used to buy comics based on who
Who
was
was
the
writing
author,
it?
who was writing it. Like I love
Sure.
Jason Aaron stuff. I love Mark Wade stuff. I love those guys.
Yeah.
So I buy their stuff. Now a lot of people go the cover. They'll list the cover, and that's all they're caring about. They don't, some of these people I don't even think read the stories. I think they're just buying it, and that's fine. Like
Yeah. I mean,
I'm all about it because I'll buy just covers.
yeah, yeah.
But that's a weird switch. That's a weird.
There are
switch.
definitely two types. There are several different types of collectors, but I kind of break it down into little brackets. You've got your art collectors that
Yeah.
they love a certain artist, and if that artist, and sometimes they love a certain character too, but if that artist is doing anything like Lucio Perillo, they're gonna grab it, or Clayton Crane, or anybody. I mean, I've got Sora
Scotty
Soon.
Young. I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, Scotty Young.
Scotty Young. I have like 100 something Scotty Young covers, and
Yeah,
I just like his little baby variants, like because he's
yeah.
the only guy doing it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he's got, and I love that those unique styles. Like you've got
yeah,
try like Peach Momoko does some covers right
yeah,
now
coming out
and
of
does
nowhere. That's
very different
I've
style, like a
never heard.
watercolory type thing, and
Yeah,
Mayhew uses watercolor. So
yeah,
I think that we're in a place where it's good. I think it could be volatile. I think you're right. Like it could go either way, but I think that if people are smart, they will. If the consumer is smart, and I'm saying this, as a comic shop owner and a guy who really does make money on variants and that
yeah,
sort of thing. But I think if the consumer is smart, the consumer is going to vote with their wallet and will tell Marvel and DC what they want.
yeah,
Uh,
sure.
right now, in the course of the last 12 to 17, 18 months, we have seen the amount of variants, and I'm guilty of this too. So like I've released 3 or 4 variants. I think I've done 4 exclusives, maybe 3.
Hmm.
Super happy like super variant happy. Like I went, or exclusive happy. Like I went out and I was just like, man, I got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. And I was trying to jump on a train that I think was just getting ready to stop. And I jumped
Yeah.
on it like the exit right, or the stop right before it was getting ready to stop. So I kind of missed it there, but I think there's a lot of people that are still kind of like projecting in that direction and that are still going to keep going with the variants. But I
I don't
think
think it's
stores have,
over. I don't
was
think
that?
it's over, but I don't think it's over by any means.
No.
Like I think we're just hitting a moment where like with the Black Cat thing, I'm gonna go back to that.
Yeah.
That was too many. So
Yeah.
I think one or two is fine.
Yeah.
And especially if they're cool. Like that's my biggest thing. If they're cool, I'm gonna buy it. But
Right.
so many of them are not cool. So many of them are
Yeah.
super lame.
I
They're
feel
just
like
crazy
Detective
lame.
Comics had the same issue with their 1000.
Oh my word.
That was
Yeah, I
a
mean, there
rough
was
one.
some that were stellar. Like, and they were $10. I mean, that's the thing. As they raise
Right.
up too,
Right.
$15, $20, $30 for a comic, you're like,
Yeah.
at a certain day, that art better be freaking cool
Yeah.
for me to buy. If I'm going to display it or I'm going to get it
Yeah.
slabbed,
People
like,
don't buy variants really for collectible purposes. They buy them really for display. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
yeah, I get that.
Because you don't unless it's like a super limited run. Like the only variant that I can really think about like right now that, and I'm sure that there are others, but the only one I can think of like right now that is like that super hot variant that is just ridiculously pricey is the Spider-Gwen one. There's a Spider-Gwen #1,
Yeah,
and it was like a very limited release, and it's like $2,000 or $3,000.
yeah.
It's crazy.
And some of those will blow up like that, like
Yeah.
that Marvel Action whatever that was John
Yeah.
Boy Myers. People were paying $100 for it, and I thought it was
Yeah.
freaking cool. I was like, man, if I can get one, that's great. But
Right.
But I mean, that's like a no name. Nobody cares about that book.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do, I'm sorry, but like, it's a kid's book.
It is. It's a kid's book.
It's a kid's
Exactly.
book. And so
Yeah.
that was just weird. That was a little weird for them to be doing
Well,
variants for that kind of stuff.
we get way too speculator happy. We're all guilty of it. Everybody is.
Yeah.
Either we try to market the book, we try to make it more than it is, or what. But like we get like we're living in an age where people that still have ASM1 or Amazing Fantasy 15
Yeah.
still have them, and it's like, and there are those that kept them in really good shape, and we see the value of those, and everybody buys a comic with the hope that like that book one day, because we all put them in bags and boards, we all put them in boxes, it's the hope that one day down the road that's going to be worth something. But I think that's what happened in the 90s too.
The advice I'd give too is like, just be smart about it, because like, so think about Deadpool. When Deadpool first came out, #1, that what is it?
New Mutants 98.
Mutants 98. That was like 1,000. I saw copies go for 1,000 something plus.
Sure.
Now you can get a really nice copy for like 500, maybe less. And so just be careful. Like don't buy into the hype. If you want a book to collect, or if you want to flip it, whatever, just buy low.
I don't think you could have meant New Mutants 98 though, because that was a 90s book.
Yeah,
you're talking about something different.
No, I'm New Mutants 98. That's what I'm talking about. It was huge.
Okay.
It was huge. I mean, when the first Deadpool, everybody was speculating and
yeah. I see what you're saying.
For astronomical amounts. And then, we're looking at Deadpool 3, and you can get a really nice copy for not tons of money. I mean, it's still a decent amount, right? Obviously, but
yeah.
So you just gotta use. I think you jump on the train while you can.
Yeah.
I knew a girl who had 40 She-Hulks, 40
nice.
She-Hulk #1s, and she sold them. She bought them each for like, well, I don't know, $15 a pop, and she sold them all for like 80 at the peak, and now they're going back down, right? But
yeah,
Disney Plus, we heard that, and people started speculating. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that's and it's just like I tell my wife, it's like the stock market, is you can make money. You can make money in the comic book speculator industry. You just have to be in it all the time.
Yeah,
you have to know what's going on. You have to look out in the future. You have to look to see, what's trending or what's on the horizon to trend. I mean, there's a lot. And there are groups out there, but nobody, just like with Bitcoin groups and everything else, like nobody gets that stuff right. Like sometimes you do, and you hit a home run and you're great, and other times, most times, it's just a loss, or at least, hey, you got a book. But anyway,
sure. Cool.
Yeah, so I think I know we could keep going, man, but I don't think we should, because I think we'll set a bad precedent.
This is great. Yeah,
so,
we want to keep this at 30 minutes.
We want to keep it at 30 minutes. I have a feeling that we're going to keep saying that for like the first 8 or 9 episodes until we concede and say, okay, we're going to do an hour-long show.
Yeah.
So well, let's say like our dream and our intention is 30 minutes, but we'll probably not.
That's
We're
right.
probably going to do an hour. So,
That's right.
but we do appreciate you guys coming out. I think one of these times I'll get my guitar out and I will recap the entire episode with a song
Yeah.
that I will write on the spot because I love doing improv stuff. So it
Heck
could
yeah,
fail
bro.
terribly bad, but so can we. So cool.
Cool.
Yeah. All
Thanks
right.
for
So
tuning in.
thanks, guys. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock Central. We will be live. So next week, join us. sohcomics@gmail.com. I'm Drew. This is Heath. I got a point in this direction here, even though I'm not pointing at all in Heath's direction. And you can check out the website, sohcomics.com. Join us on Facebook. We do live sales, and then we have a group too that you can join, and they have people sell and trade all the time in that group. So it's a great place to go. Sanctuary of Heroes is really a community. It's not just a store. So please don't think I'm just trying to make your money. I want you to join the community and participate and do stuff. So thank you guys. We're going to close it out, and we just really appreciate you coming out for the first one. I don't know how many people are going to listen here in the future, but we'll see. We'll see you next week. Maybe we'll have one more person watch. So anyway, bye guys. Have a great night. And I'm ending the broadcast now.